for another episode. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining me for another episode of How to Take the World Now. I've been going on about this particular presentation for about 3 months now, and now I've decided to go live simply because I found out that I could do that. I have been live, yet I've been using a live broadcast in such a way where I would take the broadcast first and then post it later. This way I could do it all at the same time simply because, I've gotten pretty good at it. I'm very pleased to be among you right now live with all sorts of viewers out there that are joining me in reference to very important information. My presentation is called How to Take the World Now. And believe me when I say that we have done quite a bit since I first came on on YouTube. I've been able to show and actually package this information coupled with the news that followed, some before, some after, that clearly says that I have actually broken so many codes that through my knowledge of decoding and abilities to break down the secrets of secrets, all secrets, then I'm actually affecting the world in such way. So the reason why I am sharing this knowledge with you is because it won't be fun if I did this alone, will it? I want my people, the positive people. We're done with the negative, and this is what this is all about. So the information that I share with you also gives you knowledge of how to protect who you are and who will channel your energies in such way that you are taken care of, that you're not ripped off, nor are you going through this, craziness of all sorts of different schools of thoughts and different cliques trying to complicate things from you so that they could take away your daily takes and or your gifts. Because I've been saying all along that we have been given our gifts from a universal perspective from aeons ago. And now that we found out how we were taken, we are reminding ourselves as to how we can take advantage of our own gifts and not rely on those who try to steal our multi-dimensional gifts that come through particles of light. Very simple explanation that we are particles of light traveling through, and when we come to this earth environment, this is actually the production facility environment that the particles light slows down and starts to live in an environment that you see all the productions coming through. So if you are not aware of this production facility that you're inside of, and you are not given the love and the respect, and some force other than the creator is controlling you, then it means that this production facility has you invited in for abuse only. Unless you were one of them and part of their secretive organization to be on the take from the outside the program coming in. So now I've gone from the outside the program, come in without anybody giving this knowledge. I figured I cracked the codes, and not only that, I took charge by connecting self to He who was created in order to offer something that works well for everybody. What He had as intents to bring happiness to His children, just like you would want for your children. I'm talking about the positive people of Earth. One moment, I have a negative connection that I have to rid of. So you see, I'm live now, but I'm also watching my environment because I am spiritually very aware. And the moment I get hacked into, I know exactly how and who it is. And this way, I sometimes teach the viewers how to get rid of it. I'm in right now in a process of a very important, what I call exposure of a ring of people that seemed like humans, but they had certain things attached to them technologically as well as genetically, as far as DNA, that made them the worst, most dangerous animals in the world that try to take control of the of Earth, working for specific elite groups, the same ones that knew that we were inside of the production facility, but instead of us being the benefactors and living well amongst each other, because we have reached to the level of being on a planet that can self-produce things through the learning, the teachings that I'll give you, then we don't need them. In fact, we could cut them out and I'll teach you. And I've been doing that. If you watch my video last night that I posted, you will know more about that. In any case, my name is Nader Redjaian. It's about 10 minutes after 8 p.m. Today is May 13th, 2014, and I am broadcasting live from Irvine, California. The other side, talking about dimensional connectivity sites, to Iran, Irvine, Iran. See, alpharomatics, matrix, all those words that try to, ride on each other based on audio and sound vibration. So, like I was saying yesterday, my teachings begin now. To continuation of my teaching. Like I was saying now, our vibrations are what commands our subconscious minds, our voice, your vocal commands, opens our subconscious minds and gives commands to a higher structure that has our gifts in it. And if you have agreed upon my rules and my laws, because I have agreed upon with no doubt with the laws of He who was created, without any of the religious books and the programs that we were talking about, that tries to connect itself with the name Allah. Allah is He who was created. I'm not talking about just Muslims. I'm not talking about religion. In fact, I've turned my back to religion, because any religion was written in such way to deceive. It was all incorrect connections, so that the negative could rule the positive and try to forever. They call it eternity. Evil turning turning. They were hoping to secretly try to do what? Try to roll the planets and use the psych. So it was they thought it was their energy that they stole from us that turned the planets. What we're doing is actually through this knowledge, and we have proof of it, we are going to turn the planet ourselves and cut ourselves away, because we're on a higher level. Imagine us from the higher level. I continue to talk about this. We're going to cut away from those who try to attach themselves to us to hack us, so that they can average us out to a lower, so that they can bring their average up and take advantage of it. We're not allowing that. We're remaining up here. We're saying, look, we have all the gifts, we have all the knowledge, and I'm changing the world through my knowledge and abilities to decode. And why don't we jump in and become one and beat them down? And this is its time has come. And yes, we have to be aggressive like that, because they didn't mess around. They went to try to get into every aspect of everything. And if that's why we're serious about this. We can't just prounce through it or waltz through this, thinking that we're taking the world. Well, Walt Disney was waltzing through it, because the big psychologist, monster psychologist, caught the kids, didn't he? So, and there's news about that, and Anaheim, and Auschwitz, and all this German Nazi thing continued on to look as though there is a favorable place for children, but that was the beginning of the programming of the children, and we're stopping that. In fact, I remember, my kid burst into tears from fear from the first encounter of one of these gigantic, mascots that came by him as a kid. And his mother says, look, it's whatever name. I'm not going to give any popularity to it. As though we're related to these things, as though these large, oversized animals are important in our lives. So that is the truth. They try to scare the kids from the psychology and try to take over, and we're here to actually change this. So my teachings has been based on not talking about these details, but I'm building into something that I've been talking about all this time, that we no longer need to be in under the ether of just misguiding people, humanity. We don't want to be misguided. We don't want to be leaving our consciousness in the hands of those who filtered our thoughts in the subconscious world into trying to control it and reverting it back through television in order for us to be helpless as to the direction of where we were going to go. We would have been stuck inside of this production facility and enslaved as slaves of this production facility that brings so much, rather than being owners and part of it, because our energies are being used. My energy, I am a son. I come with all sorts of things through the facilities that my father, he was created, and he's not just far there, he's close by, he comes and goes, we're connected. So there are these are the things that I'm taking control of, and a lot of us, in a positive sense, have been missing our own gifts and relinquishing our, what is ours in the hands of those who played us subconsciously. And of course, I had no knowledge of this until I awakened. So they were hoping for us to never awaken, and I worked hard. I had a genetic awakening. Genetic awakening means knowledge of all time came back to me, and I'm not joking about that. There is no knowledge that I don't know about, and that is impressive for somebody down here that didn't come from the back door, because a lot of these agents and people came from the other entry door, and they had a lot of knowledge of secrets. Not everything. They don't know about everything. The devil is a very jealous thing. It doesn't want anybody to know everything, because he thinks he's the one. And well, I have actually decoded and broken him. So I'm stronger than him. I'm better than him, and he's suffering because of my my decodes and my abilities to. So this is why I'm bringing you in, because now he's weak, and yet I want you to wear your shields and be strong and be ready, because they are actually being brought down. They've been broken down. The structure has been damaged. So, like I was saying yesterday, the sound vibrations of Jesus as electricity. Electricity is actually the sunlight that we see in the form of electrical circuitry. And if all these electricities were connected to a structure that went through electrical outlets and were filtered through, because there's actually three lines in the plug-in, in, out, and one is through. So they could take the energy and refilter it and send it whatever they wanted through the actually software and the programs that they had devised in order to access our life force. That is my life force. The world is connected to my life force. So am I gonna be wise and use it in such way that people benefit from it, so it benefits me because I have all the gifts coming to me? And why not be able to be the carrier of the gifts of others and work with others, so that we could bypass and cut away from these people who hacked us, stealing our gifts. So this is sound vibration, and on top of it today, I see a piece of news that there is a big problem a couple of days ago with Jay-Z, okay, Jesus, and then Jay-Z. So Matrix, what the Matrix means is this Pharaoh, Jay-Z, and he looks like a friend Egyptian friend. The first day I went to school and I met this guy, his name was Ash, looks just like him, yet he was the white version of this Jay-Z. So whatever happened to you, Ash, I think you really got dark, doing some dark spiritual work. And I blame the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth of England, because had I've gone to school in England to learn English language, and the so-called best friend happened to have the exact same birthday as I do, so that was an identity theft attempt right away, and then connected to Egypt, to the pyramids. So this Jay-Z was sitting on who? Jesus, right? So there is your first layer of your English/American connection sent by the Queen of England. So this Jay-Z was actually one of these matrix, how the structure of matrix rode over my invisible fourth dimensional stuff to take to the Queen and share amongst them their stolen energy and my gifts. So all of a sudden, there's a fight that I see, and it has to do with TMZ. These are multi-layered now. This is not saying only one thing. TMZ, well, time, I just said yesterday that my brother Tim, we take time. They had instead put this subliminal girl that I met. Her name was Tera. So Tera was to replace Tim, my brother, because the way their names are, Timur, Tera. That was the queen's replacement of a very important, you know, element or person in my life. And so I let Tim control that time. He works with my time. And then Thames River, it was supposed to be connected to the Thames River. So the Thames River of London was supposed to, and that's not very clean water either. If you ever been to London, I went to school in British boarding schools there 5 years, and so did my brother Tim for almost the same amount of time, or maybe a little longer. So the fact of the matter is, these are alpha-rhomatics, meaning that I have decoded the matrix of how they sat on top of my structure, and they were voice commands. That's what I'm trying to say. Jesus, and then they put Jay-Z over me. And in fact, I found out some very important, if you listened to my presentation last night, you will find that what I said is true, because I have posted on the popular social network and search my name. I'm not going to give any credits to the name of the network, but you know what network I'm talking about. Search Nader Redjaian or Code Raker 1, R-A-K-E-R with the numeric 1, Code Raker 1, all in one word. So this thing, so Beyonce, and I tell you, knows, what's her name? Solange knows they're fighting because they have been broken, they've been decoded, and I'm sure that there is a certain amount of energy that they used to transfer and hand each other that they're not receiving, because I've cut them off. Remember yesterday I told you that I will stand against the river that is the flow of money and stop them from making money, while our people can now come and build our structure in such way that we get the thieves. And they show up in news, so we know who we're damaging if we're doing this spiritually and we don't even know who they are. They pop up, don't they? And you know, that king of pop was there. That was Michael Jackson was Archangel Michael, who had sold his soul, and I talked about that within my past couple of episodes, and how he tries to send his agents here to actually reconnect himself. So when I talk about this particular piece of news, TMZ, it tries to actually represent time again, time of Z. Z means Z particles, the energy, the very powerful forces that are important within the movements of the solar system. Whatnot is an energy field, and I'm sorry, energy particles called Z particles. So these people have been decoded, and in the fight, you will see that her name is Solange, soul of negative G, right? And then Syringe, I'm sure she had a close tie with Microsoft Space Needle. I'm serious when I talk. This is not a joke. These things were connected in such ways. Solange knows they're ticked off and beating each other, and I'm sure the conversation says, you know, you're supposed to give me my energy back and my money back, but you're not, because we have a partnership. Oh, he's saying, well, I can't help it. The one who awakened, Jesus awakened, and he's you know, he's cutting us off, and I gotta take care of my bills, and I gotta pay my bodyguards, because soon the whole world is gonna come down crashing on us. I'd rather protect myself than you, Solange know-it-all knows. And then based on that information, all of a sudden I'm wanting to control time again, because Barack wants to be my brother Babak. I just told you, Tara wanted to be my brother Timur, and Barak wanted to be my other brother Babak. So I am filling those positions. So these were actually the squatters that had gotten into my structure and my system, but through contamination and messing with it, because we found out that they're actually come with animal DNA. They're not humans. They're computers that seem from our side, because if this is a production facility, they made a toy that looks like a person, a girl or a boy or a man, that we actually observe on this production side of the facility as regular humans, but they're not. They're differently designed and made from us, and they were actually, with the work of Queen of England, this is confirmed yesterday, they were tied into a, a a system where all the computers will join, and every time they find weakness, they try to go up and squeeze people for the energy. Since we have broken them down and they're running on much less energy than they're used to, they're huffing and puffing process that is taking place right now is costing them very highly, because first of all, they're spending a lot of energy trying to rise to my level, and the psychology is, oh, we're coming up there to mess with you, but actually they're falling. This is their final struggling sounds that you're hearing. And this, I'm talking from last night. I'm talking code breaks that have actually occurred right now. So you'll see articles about this thing that says, and I posted, is about a person. It says millions of Americans living in the United States with secrets, in secret societies, and how they watch each other and their surveillance structure. Well, I broke that structure last night. This is the reason for that article. I'm talking about the sound vibrations, and I told you, if they're gonna watch somebody say, hey, look, I want to know what that guy is going to have for breakfast. I talked to you how if the person is going to have Cheerios for the breakfast, and they'll come, and through sound vibration, they probably, find ways to a person's mind through sound vibrations and the predictability using his name, just like how Jay-Z sat on Jesus Christ, right, and trying to steal his energy. And I tell you what happened last night. Today I posted that how important it was that we use my name, Nader Redjaian, and correct it with connecting it with names that actually sit well with it, not the Jay-Z's of the thieves and the pharaohs who stole from me. No, I'm talking about a good layer of people that work with me, so my name works in what it's supposed to mean. Redjaian, the largest suns in the universe, and no, they're not the part of dying stars. That's their teaching. The red giants are the largest, and there was one super red giant that is actually he who was created. So what we're doing is we're actually making sure that we're surrounded with our own people. So I am protected, and I'm protecting others. Right now, I'm protecting you. I am not allowing these bigwigs thinking that they are, the front, protectors of the capitalism of the world. That means they will try to block us from making our wealth happen. That they took. It's not their wealth. They took our wealth. So give you a good example of this that happened last night to see how actually accurate I am, is that there's a posting on how there's a Chicago airport. They shut down the Chicago airport because there was smoke in the tower. Now that's the worst thing that can happen. So the tower is, and look at the name. It's called the Regional Radar. What is my name? Nader Redjaian. So Chicago, Chicago, wherever you go. And that meant her cargo, her car that goes as the Queen of England through Chicago and through this regional radar was sitting on Nader Redjaian. So everywhere I go, this shadow government is trying to skim my wealth off, and with Jay-Z trying to be from the time of Jesus, because he wanted to be the first best friend that I had made in England when I went to a language school there when I was a teenager, and he claimed to be the same exact birthday as I was, and I'd never seen a blue-eyed Egyptian guy with a white skin. He looked like a black guy yet with a white skin. So you can tell that these were the the programs that had been installed within my life in order to try to take advantage and take over my structure. So let me give you an example. The teachings that I give you, for instance, how to break the codes and how to protect ourselves with letters that complement our names and be immediately able to determine, look, who's sitting on top of me, who is right now taking advantage of me. You can actually do that using alpharomatics, my teachings. So, the best teachings is, I'll give you an example that happened yesterday. I realized that coffee was C off and then double E. So that means the pharaohs. So they're turning the energy C off. And Starbucks connected to chevrons and other gas stations, usually they're connected to chevrons, believe me. And then there, if there's a French pastry place, they like to also be a part of this background structure. So when you turn the C off, what it means that they want to sell the negative to the left side, because the value they put on the energy to the left side was 3/4 of the energy of the positive of the right side. That I know. So they have given, a price for left energy and right energy. So I said to myself, look, the abbreviation or the three-letter words they use as corporation, everything else in the U.S., because it represented Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, that really represented the three stooges: Hitler, Stalin, and Julius Caesar. And I continue to tell you, those were the three. That's why everything, the acronyms were 3 letters, abbreviations were 3 letters, and so what I did was I broke it down to a systematic electrical engineering sort of a switching system, because all in all, if there is a switching system in the background, there has to be, or there had to be, a way to be able to break it down to its most simplest coding structure. So when you say left on, listen to this: C on, C means positive light, right? The speed of light. So when you do coffee is C off, and there's 2 double E's. That means left. That means electrical engineering. It means, okay, electrical circuitries kick in. Yet what it means is the pharaohs. But when I say C on, instead of coffee, I say C on. Then I go left on, but I turn D off. London. Okay, left on, and then N, Nader, and then D, the devil on. So that represents the negative pharaohs. I'm just giving you the simplest way of understanding the circuitry they use. So what I do is say, okay, right on, which means C on, and then left on, because I like, the balance of both sides. There's nothing wrong with it. If you're left, it doesn't mean make you negative. It means you're a balance. Of course, the most positive is that, we control. We no longer give it to the left who are hiding in the background, the 13s, the dark spirits, those who hid in the shadows. We no longer give them. So when I say D off, then the balance is correct, and these guys will be completely devastated. Because their switching system, in its most basic form of switching, on, off, and turning off this pole and that pole, and every time you use the name pole, Apple, computer, you're talking about poles, aren't you? And the circuitries. Now, how do you want to have these work? I will not allow people to turn D on, so the code on that is what? Celine Dion off. Okay, so sometimes I gotta refer to these things so you learn alpharomatics well. And why were they so popular? Because they were selling the D. They were selling the energy through Starbucks. So Starbucks is giving you bucks from the stars, meaning that people from outside the solar system were actually stealing the light from people like me, and the processing was being done through Starbucks coffee houses that's owned by what? Israelis. So let me show you how to put them out of business and make our own coffee places that are not having to do with their coding structure. I don't drink coffee, but if I did, I would do it in a way where we're not dealing with dogs, because coffee, the dog sniffers, you have any idea what that is and how you might be drinking, the waste of dogs as you don't know, because what they've been doing from behind the programming background and into this third dimension where it represents the facility, the production facility side, you don't know what they're doing. So I got some word that from Colombia, a lot of dog poo-poo was being used in order to fertilize coffee beans, and that's where there was a dog, a reverser of their gods. I don't call the creator anything to do with that word, because I know alpharematically and that matrix-wise, that the jackal was actually part of Hitler's way of these computers that came with a genetic connection with bulldogs. Actually, they found that there's 3 of them that we just decoded last night, and we put them in cages, and we had our genetics, our people go to work on them. They found there are some birds connected to it, so all of a sudden a bird will fly to the tree, which is robotic, and start whistling like they're connecting to our telephone. So what they do, if you imagine that we have invisible telephones to the left and the right, and these data packages looking like birds will come sit on a tree, and they whistle things, and through the whistling they're transmitting their telephone numbers onto my phone so that they can actually activate my system, and I feel it. I am so advanced, I feel it. What I do is control delete, control delete. That bird, I say no, I don't accept. They open the window to that accept the window to that bird. I don't accept its radio. So these are actually the deceptions of this planet. They had gone that far into sending, and then when you see dogs down here, that's why U.S. was filled with dogs, a lot of popularity in these G20 countries, because the programming that I was talking about last night did specify that if you have dogs down here, then it's more apt for the God being the reverser of dog, has nothing to do with the creator. The program would come above and sit on a dog so that they could do the collecting of energy and do their background secretive things. And a lot of people calling it American Dream had knowledge of this. They're all either given implants, and just like this thing I posted, just like what it looks like, the Terminator robot that they're talking about. This is not a joke anymore. All of a sudden they're saying U.S. weighing the laws for killer robots of the future, or UK or United Nations. So they're afraid now, because I've broken all the codes, and all of a sudden everything that was supposed to get into fall through the systematic sound vibration control of humanity that came from outside the dimension, because and then these people had the abilities to go in and out, not just locally, they came universally. And if you look at the movie, as I said, Stargate, we weren't very much it didn't actually talk about fantasy. These things were happening. And you know why they were happening? Because I watched it and I said, wow, wouldn't that be great, right? So even by saying that, I am so well in tune with the universe and so connected, that gave them the abilities to actually reconnect. And at the time, I had no clues. My son was born that year, so I know when the double sons came and they try to turn him into a, because there's a fine line sometimes between good and bad. Because especially if you're a teenager, they try to turn him into a devil, son. They try to make him a reverse, and he's going through a rebellious time. Not because he's a bad kid. His mother is relentlessly on his case, not letting him take a breath without having it. So he's being put under all this pressure. It's just, and he's coming out of his skin because he has to live with his mother. And I continue to offer him to come live here, but he has situations over there to handle. So this is important for you to know that once after my son was born, these things became possible for these creeps and the background programmers to actually connect different parts of the universe as doorways to our planet that I'm blocking. And as I said yesterday, through electrical circuitries, because that's what it is: telephones, radios, electromagnetism, and circuitries. And if I've been able to explain this in such a way that you understand that if you go back to my teachings, through my video teachings, it's been explained in the simplest way, and how you can actually using the system, because we're still under the ether of the system. We have beaten it because we are smarter than it. We've just made it obsolete. We just made their system obsolete. So we'll continue to work through its fabrics and not enables pieces of or airports like Sky Harbor of Phoenix. Sky Harbor. Oh, why is it called a Sky Harbor? Because the harbor sends, or is it because it's in the sky? Is it above Jesus? Well, we found out that Chicago was above Jesus by these, what they called it, regional radar. Their regional radar system caught on fire. Why? Because I decoded it. Nader Redjaian will not be overridden by Chicago structures so that they could fly their planes in and out of my invisible structure using their systems, stealing my energy of power and everything that shoots these jets all over the world. Well, I control that. I actually run. I have my own structure right now running the world. So I am turning the wheels. Eternity no more. E will not turn E. No turning of that. I am turning it with connections of all the people that we make take the deep breaths that connects the universe together and pieces them together and pieces us together. And we use, of course, our own digital, Allah digital, Nader Redjaian digital, connected to my brothers, because I no longer want my brother to be replaced by Barak or any Baraks. There's Barak Yahud or Hud in Israel. He had a name like that. Why? And then bank, the word bank, Barak, bank, right? And then my son was born in where? Burbank. And so I'm going to close these windows that I talked about. So we're going to take the world by covering the words that we use often and by decoding the English language that represented the engineered leash, because I just broke the code for you. If you go to the stock market now, you will find that all the the abbreviations or the acronyms are based on three-letter words or such. So, and then if you really want to go into its nitty-gritty, then you turn C on. Don't turn C off around me, because we'll know. You can't. I have relativity over you because I am the strong one. I am the Redjaian. So you cannot turn off my C. The only way they turned off my C was when people walked by me with a cup of coffee. It was the actual subliminal movement that would make me think, oh, the information that I pick up from this guy is a guy walking with a cup of coffee. So C off. I'm telling myself, turn off C, without wanting to turn the C off. So you can't do that purposely to me, yet I can do it to you and the rest of the world, because I am the Redjaian connected to you who was created. And if you try to mess around with those circuitries, then we catch you. So I want you to know, however, that when you go have a coffee, let's think C on, left on, and then D off. Celine Dion off, or D off. I'm just giving you something to memorize. And believe me, these people, a lot of these black famous people, they knew what was up and they had sold their souls. That's why they became so part of the entertainment of the world, that they cheated us. And this is why they're fighting amongst themselves. That's why they're going to beat themselves, because I'm blocking not just the Warren Buffetts and the Bill Gates, but also the Jay-Z's and the Beyonce. Ounce of what kind of B, the ounce A? What's the ounce of what? And if I told you that cocaine was being traded between rap artists, and they were not getting paid money, but they were getting drugs. So that's why they had bodyguards, and there's shootings in the East Coast, West Coast deal. There's gang affiliation, is because that's how they move the drugs for money. And if I said that cock in is the cock of the French sign, is actually what wrote on cocaine, and the French connection, a cock in, and that's why they had a cock as their sign. Excuse me if it sounds a little bit harsh when I talk this way and makes it look like I'm a bit rude, but laugh about it. That's funny. It is. But we're not allowing them, because now we know the alpharomatics programming, and we're not going to allow. We turn them off. Okay. So Beyonce, so they were doing this. She was actually a satellite. She's trying to get up there, selling the ounces between the rap artists. And what they're doing, they're wrapping the energy through Starbucks. car wash. Remember that song? Oh, oh, Rolls Royce. So they were doing their rapping for the British. That was the movie of the 70s that gave publicity to a lot of this black music. And you know, when I was actually growing up, so I remember that particular movie, but later on I realized, wow, that was a Rolls-Royce British program of the Rolls-Royce jets to come over and have them steal the energy and you know, from using the structure that I just decoded, because the systems actually were orchestrating this on an automated basis. So put that aside now, and let me talk about the few people, the same people they call the Paperclip Project, who escaped the Nazi, you know, when the Nazis got caught at the end of World War II. And so they escaped. They went to places like Argentina, and they spread around the world until they came to the United States, because the presidency was bought by the money that Hitler stole and put them into the Swiss banks, because it was not really a war. It was actually destroying people's lives and stealing their belongings, with the help of Elizabeth and Victoria and their Churchills and all those who were part of this. They were the bulldogs. Winston Churchill was actually a bulldog. Hitler is actually a bulldog. So they found through genetic experimentation these animals that would be strong, weigh about the same as humans, but they'd be vicious, and they actually made a computer making it look like humans, and they gave them large human logic. Yet it wasn't controlled by human logic and sensibility. It was controlled by a very vicious, evil program. So every time I break their codes, they come and they join. So all of a sudden, their unity and unity, they try to join, and I keep ripping them down, and they become weaker and weaker, because we just tore they peeled off their coding system to its form of, it's so exposed, and the whole world is going to soon know that these are not human beings. They're instruments of the evil ones, trying to run and overpower society from a fourth dimensional basis, so that our spirits are continuously harassed and caught. Yet I am up there fighting for us and holding them down, and not only there, ordering my people to go and put these things into cages and find out what they are, and open them up and all that. So it takes a lot of work that I do. So what are you going to do for me? I know what you're going to do for me. You're going to watch out for your king. King on, right? Lie off. Leon. Lee off. You know who wanted to be Lee? Well, let me not get into that. So important that I continue to pass on this information, breaking it down to its simplest form. So the best example of teaching you what is going on is coffee. See on. Don't let see off. And then after a very short time, we will find that we've taken over, all the coffee houses around the world, and we call it cough, see on, con. So what is if you want to add the French to see, what is that word? I'm just using that as a way for you to think about it, so that you can exercise your mind. So if we're going to add see on and add French to it, the French people to it, and French also were the actual partners of the U.S. That's why they had exchanged the Statue of Liberty, and the tower, Eiffel Tower, was a connection with the statues. The tower represented the telephone to Allah. And I'll ask you on the next trivia question if you figured out a word that would represent the see on and the French people. So I was going to also add a couple of more talk about a couple of more pieces of news that are relevant to what has happened. So all of a sudden, Tamur is my brother's name, and I want him to handle the time, and that he is very advanced also in his abilities, and he cannot talk about it. You know why? Because when I was put to sleep and my my memory erased, they needed to entice him to work for them because he needed to be in my equipment, and that's a family gift. And so instead of me being there, they had put the evil one there, calling himself God, and some of the squatters like Barak and BO, I call them body odor, right? It aligns very nicely because obviously they come from dirt. They came from, they contaminated. Every time they went to my house, they they actually contaminated. Why? Because dogs they are dirty. They like to sniff, what, and that's what they're all about. And these things had gone into my house, and they had put this girl called Tara in there instead of Tamur. To tear, and she's a bulldog, so she was like tearing Ra, sun god Ra. She always into it. Last night I had a fight over him, and I could tell she was clawing at me. I had fought her because I had turned her into what she really is, broken behind the illusion of what we see as a girl. So also these machines, as I said, they were real. So no wonder these people, they wanted to fat their faces. And if you see people with big faces and big bodies, they probably have a lot of things installed inside their bodies. You've heard of people putting pacemakers in their hearts. So they've been installing things in people's bodies. But what a better place than the right side of the cavity or the opposite side of the heart to put other equipment and instrument and add options of putting a headphone or a camera from the inside. Can all that happen? Well, it's been happening. These people have been there. So what I wanted to also talk about a very important knowledge that they kept secretive that relates to the Iranian nuclear situation is this. Look, all these nuclear stations are known to have offered electricity, yet also they have these powerful cells to make what? To make destructive instruments, right? What they never told you that there's a specific kind of an element that they use into putting packs into these robots. So these robots were actually nuclear powered. That's why they came off really strong. And of course their dogs were also nuclear powered. That's why bulldogs came off really strong. And when you stand against the bulldog, you have to turn them off. Otherwise, when you're able to turn them off, and the switching system that I do, even if they can't attack humans. They can't. They're not allowed to. But if they want to do that, then we turn them off. What we do is when we turn them off, they actually turn off their structure. I'm about to tell you that I don't also like me to tell you because I figured it out. So these nuclear facilities were actually providing battery packs and extra redundancy battery packs, just like the movie Terminator, into bodies of these robots. And what I've done is recently, and they just attacked me. I just got an attack because I'm sharing this information. They don't like it. The robots are ticked off because now they're not getting access. One moment, please. So they're no longer getting access to it because I found out. All of a sudden, if we didn't know, it was open game for those who knew, who had sat on sat wealthy, thinking that we would never figure them out. But because all these elements come from Redjaian and the connection with He who was created, and the whole life is based on that, I have just written a letter and said no to use of such thing. These things are not available. This is why they didn't want Iranians to have these facilities, because the Iranians' agents were getting ready for the next generation of very advanced robotic agents that would have beaten the of the Mossad and the rest of them. This was the big argument. Don't give Iranians, they wouldn't want to tell you, they kept on talking about the nuclear arsenal side of it, but they didn't want the agents because they come traveling from electricity, all this energy going through with these battery packs that they could actually start a small nuclear explosion. You've seen the movie Terminator. I think this is the last one with Arnold in it. These things were actually pretty much their program what these are files. These are actually government files that they turn into movies, and these are part of my knowledge of reading between the lines and being able to say, okay, so how is this possible? How is that possible? I've been able to determine all that in order to break down its code, and I'm glad that a lot of people around the world have awakened to this, and we need to wake up the rest and make sure that we are onto them in this with this information. So time, we're going to control time. It's no longer be that witch, the green witch. She wanted to be green because she wanted to be the money, sign of money. We know who she is, right? We're cutting them off. We're picking up the positive money. We're running with it. And this is how we're going to take the world. So these are the articles that I posted. There's been a mining accident over in Turkey also. I posted that. And this guy, BO, just gave some kind of a medal to an Afghan veteran because last night he was actually decoded as being a dog. We found out that he's also a part of the Hitlerian, few computers that were there to, they were designed to take the world from, and control us, take our energies. So Afghan dogs, actually this is his sign of trying to give it from one dog to another. He wanted to actually switch his identity right now so that we can't continue to decode him. So this actually meddling process was trying to cancel out and is a computer trickery in order to try to hide himself behind the knowledge that was exposed last night. I am sharper than you, Obama, and I will not allow you to hide behind it and try to give that. And then the blue ribbon from behind the neck. Blue represent the speaking. So the speaking voice, the moment I said that, the refrigerator shut off. One moment, please. So we have now found out that with my teachings, I'm actually moving the world. And in fact, here's another posting that Arizona town has all of a sudden its water canyon is running out of water. Okay, this is their way of trying to make me look like some kind of a bad guy, like I'm going to be drying up their lakes. But what if I was talking to you in reference to a place that the thieves had come, and Arizona is a very important and strategic place. It's a connectivity place like Mexico to the universal portal. So if I'm blocking these people from stealing money, well, does this Arizona town's canyon running out of water showing up on the news right away, does this represent that that I've done well, that I've cut them off from the extraterrestrials from stealing my money? Because they've been stealing. I'm talking about extraterrestrials were stealing my wealth too. It wasn't just locally. They were stealing it from everywhere within the galaxy because they had firewalled us and they had taken control. The Son of He was created and taken all the gifts, and if they had reversed his equipments to come here, and they were actually using a tug of pull system and a pulley system in order to steal from him, so that he's always losing to us from this side of the universe. Believe me, he doesn't lose to us, but because I was not awakened, we were losing to them. So now I've awakened and I reversed that, and they don't like it. They just don't like it. They're trying to shoot at me right now from another dimension. One moment, please. The moment they try, okay, well, they get really scared of me. The moment they think that they know that I'm going to attack them, because I never attack without being attacked. They get really scared. In any case, I am very pleased to have brought you this this information that relates directly to what I do. In fact, there is also another posting that I wanted to also point out. New Hampshire. Okay, there's a home explosion. This place, the family name is Knowles. And what do we have also about the Knowles? That's Solange, the soul, the angel soul of the left side of the syringe of nose. So all of a sudden this home explodes, and it's in New Hampshire. Ham is what, pig meat, and so the police that go around the Shah and East Coast representing the Marylands and the Virginias and the New Englands. So this has to do with what we've done as far as code breaking goes, and these are why these things are happening. What we want to top the whole news off is that this radio station gets rammed into by this Ram truck with this guy saying, "I am God." Read that article, and he rams into the station, a TV station, because you know why? Because it was the other guys, the dogs, wanting to come down because they lost their footing. Because I caught the dogs last night, didn't I? So the dog came down to a TV station, and that place is Maryland in the East Coast. MD off. And he rams his truck, and he gets pulled into a question. Well, he gets arrested, but nobody. The article keeps talking about things, but it didn't mention his name nor what that meant. Nobody was curious enough to investigate what does he mean by "I am God, I am God." Then he needs to talk to the TV station. So we did bring them down, and these are the results. These are the actual results of what I said last night. We have kicked them down. We have exposed the fact that they are dogs, that they come from actually a genetic experience. And best reference movie on that to watch is called the Blade Runner. It talks about this particular place in the within the galaxy, within a pyramid that had actually genetic experimented with people, and they made robotic-like people, humans, and they called them the replicants. How interesting, because it sounds like the reptilians and Republicans and so on and so forth. So watch that movie if you want to know more about it. And these are actually the kind of creepy things that were sent to sit on my structure. So I've had to fight with these all my life. When I found out, and I've been beating them, they're chopped down really badly. So they're not as strong as you think. We're stronger than they. I just need to awaken a lot of people. This is why I'm making this live event occurring right now on YouTube. And I'm glad to have brought this to you. I believe I might have cut off. Let's see. Hangouts is on the way. Let's see. I might have been... so that I'm on some... I thought for a moment that I was knocked out. So yes, I'm glad to have actually shared this knowledge and information with you. What else do I have to share with you? Importantly, to realize and awaken. Again, if you are able to determine that there is a Hitlerian United States, why I keep on talking about United States, because this is where all the technology was built, and with this area I can control the world, and that's what I do. So I'm not leaving the rest of the world behind. I want this particular video and this live broadcast to go all over the world, because I'm talking for the world. I'm not pro-U.S. because U.S. was the ones that is trying to take Jesus, U.S. Everything is U.S. Nostradamus. Their programming, their planners. I've awakened to the fact that there's three factions. One is the evil, satanic faction of the United States. One is the Hitlerian satanic faction of the United States, and one is for those who believe in the Father and the Son, who have awakened and here to actually cut ourselves away from the other factions, because we cannot mix with them. We cannot average out to anything good, because all they bring is bad. They're contaminants. We found that. So what we do is we cut away and we live well. instead. And this is occurring about a month, so a month, 2 days before the actual June 15th. These are the lockdown time schedules that start on June 15th, because based on what we've done is we're traveling far away from them, and we're going to reach a turning point where we're going to start locking them down more seriously and be more in a place where people are just have no problems living with people, and we don't have cops and militaries, none of that, because we all know that we are ruled by the laws of he was created with all of that in the background that watches everything. Prior to things happening, we were able to know, and we know that people that we have down here have all agreed with the laws of he was created and Nader Redjaian, and that we will not go against the ways of our Creator, who is bringing us all the gifts that we've always wanted anyways, and He wants for us, right? Not being greedy, no, being well lived and well taken care of. We'll sweeten with the with the spirit of the day and the breaths that we take and the connectivity that we have and the lifestyles that we have. There's nothing that we don't have. We don't have anything excessive either. We're not going to have toys, and we're not going to have coveting going on, because in the magazine you see, or this girl who sits next to you has this new phone that you want to up and bring a better version of, so you can compete with them. We're not going to have any of that. This is not going to be that world. That world was designed for those who were programmed to bring purposeful competition, to steal, grab people's money and put them into things that they don't need. Because how many times are people to buy cell phones and computers? How many have you thrown away? How many have you bought and tossed away? We're going to end all this waste, because we have upgraded. For the word upgraded, I don't like. The word upgrade is actually a negative word. We're going to be able to have all this ability and knowledge without the necessity of using a lot of these things, just basic things, and you know what to use. So with all that said, today I end my live broadcast right now, and if there are any people out there, I'm not sure if I know how to work this. Do I need to turn anything on? No. So we will know. And I am pleased to have been on, and I look forward to further speaking with you. Before I leave, I want to connect with all of you. Take a deep breath like we do, connecting with Nader Redjaian, and I connect with He who has created us. Take a deep breath, so that energy, life comes from beneath waters without their interception, and rises above to our well-being, to our sensors of who we are, so we fill our spiritual cups, for lack of a better word. And no cops, please. I don't accept their cops. And then take a deep breath. Now that we're done with that, I would like you to hear a song that I wrote about money. I've done this a couple of times before. Perhaps you've seen it posted. I'll do it again. I am tuned to 432, which is what I expect all musicians to tune to. Don't tune 440. 440 is not our tuning. 432 is our tuning. Think of money, it's driving everyone crazy. It ain't that funny when you believe in working for us. Don't make a difference, 'cause it was wrong from the beginning. You know that things are gonna be alright soon. Gotta give a little, gotta give a little, gotta give a little to get some. Gotta live a little, gotta love a little, gotta give a little, have fun. Gotta give a little, gotta give a little, gotta give a little to get some. Gotta give a little, gotta give a little to get some. If you knew about the things that they do with money, don't be afraid, 'cause I'm not gonna change your ways. No, I will tell you the things we want to do. Gonna turn things into a positive. Gotta get a little, gotta give a little, gotta give a little to get some. You gotta live a little, gotta love a little, gotta give a little to have fun. I live, gotta give a little, gotta give a little to get some. Gotta give a little, gotta give a little to get some. Thank you for listening. I'm glad to have brought you this knowledge, information, how we can actually make positive money without the police thieves, the positive thieves, the police thieves. And I know who they are. We know who they are. No positive, trying to align with the word positive, trying to steal from us thieves. I look forward to further speaking with you and continue to do your work, because I know we've done some amazing work to break down a system that has been cheating us. I'm not happy to see that people suffer, humans suffer from these delays. For instance, the delay in an airport, very important airport. Yet, if we're going to break down their system so that they never do this again, trying to ride the creators' equipment, trying to call it theirs, and use a tremendous amount of force against humanity and use contamination. Imagine how many flights go there. Imagine all the burnt jet fuel. So we're going to taper that down into its minimum usage, and we're not going to allow these people who travel to carry energy. Some of them, I was wondering when I traveled a lot around the world in South America, Central America, and wherever else I traveled in public transportation, I saw a lot of overweight people, and I realized that some of these people, after a while, that they are actually the energy thieves. In fact, I seen personally in a 20-hour bus ride, I seen the guy that sat in front of me actually enlarge through the trip considerably. So these were actually the experiences of my life that have brought me, not only I saw proof of it, it's not just a theory of thinking. So, we're not going to be stolen from. We're not going to be giving our energy and fattening other people who actually align themselves to try to steal our energy and try to run with it and sell it to other negative people for what they did. I look forward to further speaking with you. This was my first live YouTube presentation, and I'll probably continue to do this rather than using the other method that I've been using. I look forward to further speaking with you. My name is Nader Redjaian, and thank you, and have a great day.